He risked his life while others stayed safe. America's most decorated soldier carried the weight of a nation on his shoulders. But one Hollywood star insulted everything he had fought for, and the fallout would haunt him forever. Audie Murphy wasn't just a soldier, he was a legend. Born into poverty in rural Texas, he faced hunger, loss, and a father who vanished. But what happened next would turn him into America's most decorated hero and almost destroy him. If you've followed Hollywood over the years, stay until the end. You'll be amazed by a secret from back then. Audie Murphy was born on June 20th, 1925, in the tiny, dusty town of Kingston, Hunt County, Texas. He wasn't born into comfort. Far from it. The seventh of 12 kids, he was raised in a family so poor that meals were a luxury and stability was practically non-existent. His father, Emmett Murphy, drifted in and out of their lives, unreliable and absent, leaving his mother, Josie Bell, to fight a lonely battle raising a dozen children on her own. Life for young Audie was a daily grind. Imagine a boy barely old enough to ride a horse, working long, blistering hours under the relentless Texas sun, picking cotton to scrape together enough money to eat. Hunger, fear, and responsibility became his constant companions. And yet, even in that chaos, something remarkable began to form inside him. An iron will, unshakable resilience, and a stubborn independence that would later make him a legend. Audie didn't just survive, he had to grow up overnight. While other kids worried about toys and games, he learned the harsh calculus of life. Who could you trust? How do you protect your siblings? And most importantly, how do you fight to stay alive when the world seems stacked against you? His Irish ancestry may have given him toughness, but his upbringing forged the courage that would carry him through far greater battles than a childhood in poverty. By the time he reached 5th grade, the weight of survival forced him to leave school behind. He wasn't a kid skipping class. He was a boy who had no choice but to work. Each day he labored in the fields, earning a pittance while dreaming of escape. Escape not for adventure, but for survival, for family, and for proving that he was more than just another poor farm boy destined to disappear into the Texas dust. Then tragedy struck again. In 1941, when Audie was just 16, his mother passed away. The fragile foundation that held his family together crumbled. His younger siblings were sent to orphanages, scattering the family across Texas, and Audie was left alone to navigate a harsh and uncertain world. Imagine that, a teenage boy, suddenly responsible for nothing but himself, scraping together odd jobs, from farmhand labor to menial clerical work, just to survive. But Audie had dreams bigger than survival. He wanted more than just to exist. He wanted to rise, to prove himself, to create a life where he could protect those he loved and leave his mark on the world. And then, as if fate answered his silent prayers, a chance came with the looming storm of World War II. The military was calling, but it wasn't easy. Murphy was small, barely 5 feet 5 inches and under 120 pounds. The army initially rejected him, seeing only a boy too slight for combat. But Audie was relentless. He refused to take no for an answer. He begged, persisted, and finally, on June 30th, 1942, he was accepted. Just imagine it, a boy who had spent his life under the scorching Texas sun, surviving poverty and loss, now stepping into an even deadlier world, knowing that the next years would test him in ways no cotton field ever could. This was the beginning of something extraordinary, a journey that would turn a poor, abandoned farm boy into the most decorated American soldier in history. And even then, he didn't know that the horrors and heroism of war were only the start of the incredible, often tragic story that lay ahead. By 1943, Audie Murphy had become part of the U.S. Army's Company B, 1st Battalion, 15th Infantry Regiment, 3rd Infantry Division. His first posting? French Morocco. Imagine stepping off a ship into a land where the heat is brutal, disease is everywhere, and the terrain itself feels like it's trying to kill you. For a teenager who had survived dust-choked fields in Texas, this was something else entirely. But Murphy wasn't just surviving, he was excelling. Fellow soldiers quickly noticed his seriousness, discipline, and uncanny fearlessness. He didn't just follow orders, he anticipated danger, led others, and faced bullets the way most of us face a Monday morning, reluctantly but determined. By July 1943, he was promoted to corporal. He fought through the Sicilian campaign, securing critical positions against the Axis forces. Then came Operation Dragoon in southern France in 1944, where Murphy's courage reached almost mythic proportions. He would risk his life again and again, charging into enemy fire, rescuing wounded comrades, and directing attacks that would turn the tide of battle. His promotions came fast. Sergeant, then second lieutenant, then first lieutenant. Each medal he earned, from the Silver Star to the Medal of Honor, was a testament not to luck, but to sheer guts, ingenuity, and the kind of relentless determination forged in the toughest fires. One soldier described him as a boy who could stare death in the eye and make it blink first. And yet, for all the glory, Murphy never lost his humility. He carried the weight of every life lost under his command, a constant reminder that heroism comes with a price few can imagine. By the end of the war, Murphy had become the most decorated American soldier of World War II, a title that sounds almost impossible for someone who had once been a cotton picker in Texas. But here's the thing. The battlefield didn't just make him a hero, it defined the man he would become off the field, in ways Hollywood would later discover. Want to support our channel? Join the Echo Insider. Just hover over the Echo Insider icon, click and watch new videos before anyone else. After the war, Murphy faced a new battlefield, Hollywood. He was no stranger to combat, but the bright lights, cameras, and glittering facades presented challenges of a completely different kind. Suddenly, people wanted to see him as a star, not a soldier. And in a world full of actors polished in schools and theaters, Murphy's raw authenticity made him stand out. His autobiography became the blockbuster film To Hell and Back in 1955, and he played himself. Picture it. A man who had stared death in the face countless times, now reliving it on the silver screen for millions of viewers. Unlike other actors, he didn't act heroically. He was the hero, and audiences could feel that authenticity. But fame didn't erase the scars. PTSD, a relentless work schedule, and the pressure to maintain an image of strength weighed heavily. Hollywood could be cruel to those who didn't fit the usual mold, and Murphy, with his quiet Texas demeanor and soldierly bluntness, didn't exactly blend in. He quickly learned that the battlefield of public opinion could be just as merciless as Normandy or Sicily. Despite all that, he continued to serve in the military, balancing film shoots with promotions and reserve duties. By 1956, he was a major in the U.S. Army Reserve, proving that even amidst Hollywood lights, His first loyalty remained to the uniform and the values it represented. For Murphy, the war had taught him one thing above all: respect is earned through actions, not applause, and every decision, on the battlefield or in life, carried weight. Hollywood loved him for his authenticity, but Murphy remained grounded. He didn't chase fame for its own gain. Instead, he used it as a platform to honor the experiences of those he served with, to tell the truth about combat, and to remind audiences that heroism often comes at a cost unseen in movies. Even as Audie Murphy was conquering Hollywood, his personal life was anything but easy. In 1949, he married actress Wanda Hendricks. On paper, it seemed perfect. A celebrated war hero paired with a rising Hollywood starlet. The public loved it. The media adored it. But behind the glamorous headlines, Murphy was fighting a very different battle. He carried the invisible wounds of war, psychological scars that would later be understood as PTSD. Nightmares haunted him, memories of friends lost in battle, and the constant pressure to live up to the legend everyone else saw. It wasn't just his own survival he worried about anymore. It was trying to maintain a marriage under the glaring spotlight of fame while wrestling with trauma that no one could see. The marriage crumbled in less than 2 years. Divorce was painful but inevitable. The war had shaped Murphy in ways Hollywood couldn't touch and fame couldn't heal. Yet even in heartache, he sought stability. That same year he met Pamela Archer, a woman far removed from Hollywood's glitter and scrutiny. Pamela worked as an airline stewardess, a grounded, calm presence in a life that had been anything but. Their relationship was different. It wasn't built on public attention or glamorous premieres. It was built on trust, care, and a shared desire for a normal life. Together they had 2 sons, Terrence and James, who became the center of Murphy's world. He embraced fatherhood with a devotion that surprised many. Given his rough childhood and the demands of fame, he taught them resilience, honesty, and the value of hard work. Lessons drawn from fields of cotton and battlefields alike. Audie Murphy, the most decorated soldier in American history, had found a quieter victory in family life, a place where he could be a father, husband, and a man shaped by hardship, but finally allowed to breathe. And yet, even in this happiness, tensions from the past and the complexities of Hollywood never fully left him, foreshadowing conflicts that would shake his world in ways few could imagine. Even in Hollywood, where diplomacy and smiles often mask true feelings, Murphy had one person he openly despised: James Cagney. And this wasn't a casual dislike. It was a deep, almost visceral hatred. Cagney, a legendary actor known for his swagger and tough guy roles, embodied everything Murphy found intolerable in the film industry. From Murphy's perspective, Cagney was arrogant, dismissive, and above all, utterly lacking respect for men like him, veterans who had fought for their country while Cagney had stayed safely behind the screen. Murphy recalled being called "Soldier Boy" by Cagney, not as a compliment, but as a belittling joke. Imagine a man who stared death in the face dozens of times being mocked for his service in the one arena that defined him. For Murphy, respect wasn't about fame or applause, it was about character, courage, and honor, and Cagney, in Murphy's eyes, had none of it. The tension went deeper than personal clashes. Murphy saw Cagney's behavior as a reflection of Hollywood's false pretenses: ego-driven, performative, and dismissive of real-life heroes. While audiences loved Cagney's explosive energy, Murphy found it phony and hollow. He once said, "Maybe the public bought it, but I didn't." I never could stand that mugging he did. He played the same tough guy in every picture. The feud wasn't jealousy. Murphy never wanted to be Cagney. It was about values, integrity, and principle. Cagney had never served in the military, and Murphy never forgot that while he was risking his life on European battlefields, men like Cagney were far removed from those sacrifices. Murphy's disdain hardened into lifelong bitterness. Even when Hollywood celebrated Cagney as one of the greatest actors of the era, Murphy refused to join the chorus of admiration. This wasn't just a Hollywood squabble, it was a clash of ideals. Murphy's hatred was almost philosophical, a soldier's uncompromising code against an actor's ego-fueled persona. In a world where most stars played games of image and vanity, Murphy had one unshakable line: he would never respect someone who disrespected the men who fought for their country. And Cagney, in his eyes, had crossed that line again and again. It wasn't just personal. Murphy saw Cagney as the embodiment of everything false in Hollywood: pretension, ego, and shallow fame. While he admired stars like James Stewart, who combined talent with humility and service, Cagney's attitude clashed with Murphy's values. His disdain wasn't jealousy, it was moral. "I truly hated him more than anyone," Murphy once admitted. Murphy's life was a study in contrasts: a soldier who faced death on battlefields across Europe, a Hollywood star navigating fame, and a man who valued integrity above all. Despite personal challenges, he left a legacy unmatched by most: a decorated soldier, an authentic actor, and a devoted father. Audie Murphy's story reminds us that courage isn't just about surviving war. It's about standing by your principles, even in the glittering, shallow world of Hollywood. And sometimes the people you admire or despise reveal more about your own character than anything else. Murphy hated James Cagney, but in that hatred, he also defined the kind of man he aspired to be: honest, humble, and unwavering. A hero on the battlefield, a star on the screen, and a man who never compromised his values. That was Audie Murphy. If you enjoyed this story, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. It really makes us smile. And if you're hungry for more fascinating tales, check out the 2 videos right below. You might just discover your next favorite story.